Okay, well, hi everybody. Here we are, week 9. Okay, and this week topic is entitled the 70s and 80s liberalism and conservatism, and the real focus is more just on the two presidents, Reagan and Nixon. Okay, you have a writing assignment this week where they ask you to take a peek at one of those. Presidential topics, all right, presidential administrations, I should say, and they ask you to look at one of those and look for 3 events that happened within the administration. They ask you to kind of look at and evaluate the impact that had on America, all right, and how do people think about these things, and then how these administrations shaped America, either for the positive or the negative. And when you think about these 2 presidents and these 2 administrations, it's probably what jumps out at you. With Nixon, of course, it's Watergate, right? And with Reagan, it's the end of the Cold War. So you have Ronald Reagan, who's the Cold Warrior, as it goes, right? And you have Nixon, who's kind of, the end of his presidency is kind of disgraced. So those would be the 2 things I think you might kind of look at, you might think about focusing on this week when you look at that with Nixon and Reagan, okay? But they want 3 events, right? So there's other things that go on, but I think Watergate for Nixon, end of the Cold War for Reagan are 2 critically important things that you'd want to look at. Then in the discussion this week, you look at Ronald Reagan, who is kind of the conservative, if you will, right? And the idea of Reaganomics and his economic plan, supply-side economics, trickle-down economics, those sorts of things. So you want to look at the Reagan presidency, and you want to look at, why people kind of, I don't know if revere is too strong a word, but why he's still so popular among conservatives, right? When you talk about conservatives even today in 2019, right, almost 40 years later, they still talk about Reagan with a certain, again, amount of reverence about Reagan and what Reagan's conservative was. And Reagan is very famous for, again, kind of reestablishing people's faith in government. For Reagan, remember, I'm paraphrasing here, but basically his quote was, the problem of government is government, right? He thought the government was too big, government needed to be made smaller, people could make more decisions for themselves, those sorts of things that were going on. Okay, so that's really what you want to look at, right? Is you look at these foreign and domestic policies of Reagan and the different things. Keep in mind, perestroika, deregulation, the Iran-Contra affair, excuse me, there's a lot of different things that were going on along that line. Plus, remember, this week, you got to do the investigation part of your immigration project, right? So again, you got to look at this 3rd piece of the project, as it says. What was going on in America when the person you're talking about, the person who immigrated, came over? So remember, that's part of things this week for you as well, okay? So that's what gets us going. All right, if you have any questions, never hesitate to contact me. All righty, bye now.